And your top stories at 4:30, two officer-involved shootings in just 2 days. The Baton Rouge community is coming to grips with the death of 37-year-old Alton Sterling. And now the community is doing the same in St. Paul, Minnesota, after police shot a man in his car during a traffic stop. Both shootings were caught on camera. In Minnesota, Philando Castile was shot after he and his girlfriend were pulled over for a broken taillight. His girlfriend took video of it. Diamond Reynolds broadcasted the terrifying moments live on Facebook. She said Castile told the officer he was armed and had a concealed carry permit. She says the officer shot him in the arm 4 times when he reached for his wallet. The 32-year-old was pronounced dead at the hospital. Reynolds is outraged, saying the shooting was not justified.
They did not check for pulse on the scene of the crime. They did not make sure that he was breathing. They instantly rushed their colleague off to the side where they comforted him, where he began to mourn and cry, "Oh my God, I can't believe this."
The U.S. Justice Department said it is, quote, aware of the incident and is assessing the situation. In Baton Rouge, federal authorities investigating the deadly shooting of Alton Sterling. Police shot the 37-year-old during a confrontation after someone called saying he had a gun outside the store. Cell phone video of the shooting is getting national attention. A second video release shows a closer angle of Sterling pinned down before he was fatally shot in the back and the chest. The family's attorney says there's a bigger problem at hand.
If you don't care, there's something wrong with you. If you're getting desensitized to seeing this so many times, there's something wrong. Don't run to your corners just because the person doesn't look like you.
No criminal charges have been filed against the officers so far. Both are on administrative leave. We brought the cell phone videos to a local officer to get his opinion. Now, he says he doesn't want to be quick to judge the officers because he knows fellow police officers who've had to make tough calls like this. News 4's Ellie Ingersoll joins us in the studio with more on what he's saying. Ellie?
Christy, a local officer is weighing in after seeing this video, and he says that he's been there when officers have had to make that tough call whether to use deadly force or not. And he says it's not an easy decision for anyone.
His life is probably the ultimate last thing that anybody wants to do.
That's something a Cheektowaga police officer had to do earlier this year in March after encountering an armed man at a hotel on Genesee Street. And Assistant Chief Jim Spire says it weighs heavily on the officer and department.
The police officer is a person who has a family, who empathizes with the people that are out there.
The supervisor has been with the department for 29 years and feels this is the most scrutiny they've ever been under.
We're being second-guessed.
The longtime officer says now that cell phones are everywhere, the footage captured on them is incorporated into training the Cheektowaga police.
It's very important that we communicate with our officers and train our officers in the proper policies, methods, and justification of any use of force.
The assistant chief watched the video from Baton Rouge showing the moment Alton Sterling was shot and killed. The chief says he doesn't have all the facts to what happened in that fatal moment.
In every case, there's two sides to every story.
And the officer feels video getting out before investigative information is revealed is causing people to judge and jump to conclusions too quickly.
Whether that was reasonable, whether it was justified or not, all people see is the ugliness of it, and the officer doesn't get to explain his point of view.
The assistant chief says that the Cheektowaga police have dash cams, but actually since all these videos have started coming out, they're looking into purchasing body cams so they can get their side of the story and their video out there as well.
I know a lot of police departments around the country are looking at that too.
They are.
So obviously this has sparked outrage and protests around the country. Is anything happening here in Buffalo?
Really, there haven't been any protests here in Buffalo, but there has been a lot of activity on Twitter. I looked up the hashtags on Twitter, and it's really just people asking why this keeps happening. It's people getting these names trending, trying to get the conversation started. And right now, we're just going to have to keep an eye on if anything will spark here in Buffalo due to these actions happening in other cities.
All right, Ellie, thanks so much.